Howdy from Texas. My name is Ray, and I'm mostly doing this for an online challenge. There's an introductions area, and I signed up for a push-up challenge, and sometimes I'm wondering if I bit off more than I can chew. You see, I've got a marathon that I registered for, and for those who don't know, although I'm sure a lot of people who are watching this video do know, marathon is 26.2 miles, and started to wonder if I could even walk that far. At first, I couldn't. The challenge I signed up for was a push-ups challenge where daily for 14 days or so, I can shoot to complete 10, 25, or 50 push-ups. So yesterday, the way that went, since it was the first day, by the time this is shared, it'll be the third day. But yesterday, the way that went is I was able to perform about, I think, 15 push-ups, and then I had to do like 10 modified push-ups where I did it on my knees, and then 25 wall push-ups. Well, let me tell you, today's just the first day after, and I felt it. I'm at a local Texas state natural area, part of the Texas Parks and Wildlife Park System, and I'm from Texas. Just saw some cardinals. Here's another thing I see a lot of. Let me give you a different perspective. That was some kind of a wrapper and some animal poop. It's becoming a little bit more common to find trash, evidence of human occupation in places where animals normally would be abundant. I say that in the way that I'm saying it because there are several things that I've noticed that have indicated that there's probably a rapidly accelerating, significant decline in some of the wildlife that we used to see in the past. So on my bio for the challenge that I signed up for, check out this view. I entered into the information that my interests are wildlife and nature, something like that. I didn't have to, but it was recommended that I get a what seems like a social media chat related platform to enter this event, and primarily I did that because of the marathon. The event has suggested that there were chances to win new shoes just for participating in this effort to do something that I really wanted to do anyway. I haven't really worked on my upper body strength as much as I should have over the years. And so I'm doing what I can to recover that strength and build it as much as I can in a way that hopefully contributes to the overall success of what it is I'm trying to accomplish. And there's a chance for all of us on this journey to possibly score some shoes. Now, it's interesting because in signing up for that one platform, it suggested that I needed to click on another platform to do something on that page, and that would give me the chance to win some kind of shoes or gear from another manufacturer. So it feels like I was coerced into possibly having to sign up for 2 social media things. In my experience, at my advanced age of knowledge, all of these social media platforms take up a lot of time. And so the more time I'm putting into that, the less time I'm usually putting into this, except for in cases like this where I'm multitasking. A lot of us seem to be doing that. Some of us are doing it more successfully than others, even making money out of it. For me, I recently shared that I got a pair of super shoes that were gently used, and I scored those on eBay. And I think I have what I need. So I've kind of reverted to the original thought process, knowing that the odds of me winning some kind of free gear just because I'm participating in something that's being participated in nationwide, possibly globally, depending on where people are at who received the email blast. And my efforts really have shifted to hoping to win the ability to actually do a pretty consistent number of push-ups without difficulty. So whether I score some new gear or not doesn't really matter to me. But I did want to comment on the fact that I think we all take it for granted that everyone's online in different ways. I'm really on this page, on this platform, because to me it was the original video platform where you could share content with video. My videos are centered around wildlife and nature. And at a certain point, as I noticed the decline of certain animals and difficulties seeing some of the wildlife, I went ahead and learned to actually play the guitar that I've had for a long time. And then I made an effort to try and make some songs. Since I don't really have a whole lot of musicians in my peer group, I tried to sing those songs myself. And I can admit I'm not a great singer. However, I think my songs are pretty good at telling the story of what it is that I'm attempting to communicate. And today I was talking with the person at the entrance of the park about this very concept. And I said, I thought, what what if everyone sings a new tune and tries to get things on track together? And they responded, what if we sing an old tune that we can all sing along to, like give a hoot, don't pollute? That's what they said. And I thought, wow, maybe that's exactly what we all needed to hear at some point in time. But many of us have been discouraged from saying or participating in. Just as an example, this marathon that I'm going to attempt, I can already understand the scores of one-time use cups that are theoretically recyclable, yeah. But as a responsible steward of our environment, all of our companies, all of our businesses, especially the big businesses, should begin considering maybe we shouldn't be mailing out those catalogs, those printed catalogs for the annual sales and holiday purchases. And I'm not against all of these opportunities. I'm simply suggesting that sometimes the energy expenditure required to supposedly recycle things is much more than the cost of going without. So it's been about 1 hour, and you can see a beautiful bench behind me. I've gone 2.79 miles, and actually it's been 55 minutes. My goal was to go at least an hour before I take a seat. I've got a fierce pain in one of my toes that pretty much prompted my search for the right pair of shoes. And so a lot of people have questioned why I have so many shoes, have commented on how much wealth I have to spend on shoes. The truth is, I'm just looking for something that helps me to not continue to experience what I've been experiencing, which I'll show you in a moment when I sit down. It's quite interesting because I've even forgone getting tires on my vehicle at this moment, even though they're also needed. But I've gone without, because if I'd gotten those, I for sure wouldn't be able to have had the money to register for the marathon and to continue to try to aspire to complete that challenge. Speaking of challenge, the way that this rocky trail was, in many cases, the way my foot flexes really emphasizes the discomfort that I've been feeling for some time. So I brought a couple of extra pairs of socks to try a few different things, and also to switch out when I sit down to take my first break where I drink something, have a snack maybe. At the beginning of the trailhead, there's a bench down there by the street. Someone left a banana on the bench. I've taken that as a sign anytime that I'm finding certain things that I've gone without that happen to show up on my path. I try to put it to use. I hope they didn't poison the banana. I'm sure they didn't. I think someone just took some fuel for their early morning adventure. Check this out. Honeybees are pretty docile. You can touch them as long as you're not rude with them. Speaking of rude, on this platform and on every platform, there are a lot of rude people, but in the group that I joined for this experience that I'm giving my introduction for, everyone's been pretty supportive, and that's a big deal. So hopefully in showing and sharing what I'm sharing, someone else out there is being encouraged to pick up the pace and achieve something. When I make my first stop, I'm probably gonna put in my first attempt to complete as many of those push-ups as I can. I don't know that I'll record it, but I will record the other information I was talking about, showing you in the form of why I feel such discomfort and why it is that I was originally hoping to score some shoes. I think I've got the right shoes now, but in the past, I'm pretty sure I didn't. I've gone 3.43 miles. The reason I showed you that spider was because it's the first spider web I've passed through. And honestly, it's the first spider that I've seen on this trail so far. In the past, during these points in time, during the year, after rain falls, you can see the ground is not completely dry. This trail system was pretty famous for having a lot of spiders and other flowers and fauna. And it's been decreasingly common to see some of the things that I was used to seeing in the past. So I wanted to share that with you. Hope you don't mind. Hope you're not afraid of spiders. All right, so I've stopped my timer. Clearly, it's been a little bit more than an hour, and I'm gonna have a seat and have a snack, a little bit of a drink, and I'll rejoin you in a moment. Definitely not the best form on those push-ups. First 10 of 50 done. Mostly, this is a biodegradable wrapper. Mostly. I have a pretty good blister that's it's actually smaller than it was when it first started. Continues to shrink, and I don't think the blister is the primary cause of that pain that I'm feeling. However, the pain that I'm feeling is in the same general vicinity, and I got that pain on both feet, both of the same toes, and on my left foot it's healed up a lot faster than on my right foot. Although with each increasing mile here, I felt the pain both increasing and then eventually subsiding depending on the terrain that I'm on. So I don't want to push it too far. I'm just going to walk this boundary of the trail system that I'm walking. And right now I'm going to dry out one foot, maybe switch socks, and then dry out the other foot and do the same thing before resuming my trail, resuming my hike. But before that, I'm going to take in some well-needed hydration in the form of a premixed electrolytes drink in my reusable Nalgene bottle. That's not an endorsement. That's just saying that I'm going to be taking the bottle that I brought with me back to the trailhead and reusing it over and over and over, versus what you just saw in that plastic lid that I showed you from someone else's one-time use bottle. Things are so inexpensive in some cases that we take it for granted that when we drop something, we shouldn't really have to pick it up because it's not really something that we're going to use in the future. I think that's part of the downfall of some of the business that we conduct with one another. But mostly I want to talk about my journey to accomplishing some of the things that I'm accomplishing, and also document how it started out in some cases so that you can see the progression. So right now I'm clearly not the best at being able to complete push-ups. However, I'm able to cover some ground, even when I've got some kind of a pain in one of the major pressure points that continues to be pressed when I'm completing that task. So I've got a little bit of fortitude. I'm pretty sure that that I'm going to be able to manage completing a marathon. The big thing is I would like to do that with as little pain in my foot as possible, but if that's what I have to endure, that's what I have to endure. Here's that other foot just for comparison. That blister has since burst and pretty much has healed. So I tried on a pair of shoes by, well, I won't say who it was by, but thankfully I got the shoes at Fleet Feet, because those shoes caused this blister on both of my feet. You might have seen it when I took the sock off of the other foot. And anyway, that shoe I was able to return and thankfully get the right shoe that no longer blisters me in that same way. Check out this beautiful flower. Wow. While we're talking about shoes and running, want to give you 2 bits of insight, especially if you're a larger person like myself. When I took on longer distances, the very first thing that occurred was some pretty consistent chafing in between my legs and my inner thighs, I guess you would call it, where there was a lot of friction and contact. And to alleviate that, got a good pair of running underwear. Believe it or not, things like that exist. And that reduced all the friction that was occurring directly in a skin-to-skin format. And that was a lifesaver. And then I started running faster. And then my nipples were chafed next as I got faster and started running longer distances. So in one of my other recent videos, I showed the concept and the application of the nipple strips, and those were a game changer. If I didn't have them on today, might not have been a big deal so far because I haven't run any of these miles yet. But I know that from yesterday's 5K that I ran, I had gone without those strips, and I had agitated my tender bits. So just as a heads up, for the ladies, I don't think it's the same thing because most of you wear the attire that protects you from that type of jostling over the course of that duration of time. But maybe I'm saying a little bit too much. Maybe there are some ladies out there that could use that as a bit of insight. And in the meantime, all I've got to say is I don't envy all of you ladies who have given birth and breastfed. I can only imagine the type of pain that I've heard described. As a man, I know that I'll never experience some of the birthing pains and such that you women have had to endure on top of everything else, including discrimination, differences in pay, and all of the other situations that we know probably are long overdue for an overhaul at this point in time. Anyway, let's get back to our walk. That's 20. Dun 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 dun. 8 mile. 10 miles. 10. 30 push-ups, almost 10.5 miles. I think the 10.5 miles has been easier than the push-ups so far. Oh, 40. $50 push-ups, and okay, let's review. Earlier we learned, or maybe we knew already, that a marathon is 26.2 miles. What then does that make a half marathon? I'll give you some time. The math isn't that difficult. You got it? That's right. 13.1.